Thank you for coming. This is our first ever faith chat, so something new that we're bringing into the confirmation program. So thanks for being here. Tonight's topic is searching for intimacy with Bob Bartlett. I have known Bob probably for 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
At St. Anthony's.
Yeah. Well, at Holy Spirit,
Holy
too.
Spirit, yep,
Yeah.
at St. Anthony's. So he's been a presenter for my old program where I was at St. Cloud for a lot of years. Has a ton of experience working with sexuality and intimacy and those sorts of issues with young people. Been a youth minister, been a campus minister, and now is a therapist. We're really lucky to have him. We're thankful to have him. This is meant to be an interactive presentation, so he may be asking you some questions or asking for some insights. Please share as you are able. It makes the presentation go a lot better. So we want you to be engaged, involved. Don't be afraid to ask questions if something comes up or something you want to ask about. Raise your hand. Bob's very open to engaging in those conversations as well. So with that, I present Bob Bartlett.
All right. Oh, thank you. Yes. Interrupt me. I love it. So if you have questions, get in there. Though, when it comes to sexuality, I often don't get questions. That can be a little nerve-wracking, I think, when it comes to questions. I taught sexuality at the high school for 10 years, and at Catholic high school. And at one point, I don't think they do this anymore, but at one point, this was back in the 90s, they decided that we should always post grades outside our door. So the students always knew what their grades were, and if parents came, they could see the grades. And I never had a problem with that till the sexuality class. Students saying, Bob, you can't post sexuality grades outside. What if my girlfriend sees I'm getting a D in sexuality? I said, okay. They were very nervous about that, so we did not post. I got the principal to waive putting the sexuality grades out, because it can be a little nerve-wracking. My name is Bob Bartlett. I'm a marriage and family therapist. I work out of Golden Valley, and was a youth minister and at St. William's in Fridley. And then from there, the Catholic Youth Center asked me to take a full-time position there as director of the community volunteers there. And then I got recruited by one of my favorite bosses ever, Sister Eleanor, to become head of youth ministry for the Diocese of Peoria, Illinois. And then Jeff Johnson, who was at this archdiocese, said, Bob, I want you back. So I came back and worked for the archdiocese doing director of youth catechesis and sexuality. And then got a job teaching at Holy Angels High School for 10 years, and then was a counselor there too, and ended up in private practice. So that's the journey. And now, not that any of you care about this, Anne-Marie and I have 7 grandchildren, and I had no idea how fun that would be. Oh my gosh, it is so fun. It is great. So that's been, getting old sucks, but grandchildren, that is a blessing. That is a blessing. So, what I want you to know, I have an agenda. And I want to be right up front with that. My agenda in coming here is I want to help you. I cannot do it for you. It's your job. But I want you to have a chance at a healthy, creative, fulfilling, passionate sexuality. And that is my wish, that I can help you with that journey, even though it's your journey. And I think your parents and the people in your life will be a big part of that journey too. I don't usually talk about this, but Scott said that there were a number of people in the program that might be dealing with this. So it's a personal issue, but if it's helpful to some of you that might be dealing with it, I'm going to bring that up. I don't know how many of you read in history about the Chicago school bus riots, 1958. I was there. Grew up in Chicago. I was in 2nd grade, and I was feeling really good that day because I had a new lunchbox, Chicago Bears. And I get on that bus and I'm kind of showing, hey, look at that, man. Eat your heart out, baby. Look at that lunchbox. And I sat down in the bus, and as I sat down, this little girl comes from the back and sits right behind me. And she is just staring at me. She's not blinking. She's just, I'm thinking, okay, I got food on me. What's going on? And pretty soon this other little girl comes over and sits across from me. And I'm kind of, what's going on? Is this a gang thing or something? And by the time that bus gets to the school, there are 24 girls that are crowded around me, and they start fighting over who's going to sit next to me. This riot starts on the school bus. I am removed and never allowed to ride the school bus with my friends and people again, classmates. And that's my first inkling that something was wrong. And then I finally found out what it was in high school. It was sitting in the cafeteria eating sophomore year, and I happened to buy a can of pop that day, and I drank it, and I went to throw it in the garbage can, and 20 women dove for it. It touched his lips, and they start fighting over this can of pop. This riot starts in the school cafeteria. I'm removed, and I was brought to the counselor's office where they sat me down and said, Bob, you're a sex symbol, and we're going to have to start dealing with this. I'm one of 22 registered sex symbols in the state of Minnesota. I'm actually 31 years old. I dye my hair gray and try to look older and uglier so I don't have to deal with shallow women who want me for my looks and body rather than my personality and who I am. And I was talking about this at Fridley High School, and one of the kids went, you did a good job. I said, shut up. And if any of you now, I've been dealing with this and it's doing okay. The only piece of this that is true is I believe that every human being is a sex symbol in one way or the other. It could be you have a wonderful voice. You start singing, and man, listen to him, man, listen. You get on the dance floor, and look at her go. Look, you are a musician. You're an artist. You're good with kids. You're a good listener. Friends like to be able to talk with you. You're great on a football field, a hockey rink, a basketball court, swimming, golfing. I believe everybody has something in them that makes them attractive and unique on more than one. And so I believe now, if nothing else, you can use this. You can use this. If you have parents who are not here, who ask those parent questions, how was tonight? What did you learn? What did you talk about? Tell me what was going on. Instead of doing your monosyllabic routine, no, fine, yes, great. Mother, Father, I'm so glad you asked. I found out today that I'm a sex symbol, and we're going to have to start dealing with this. And if nothing else, you can use this. You can use this. If you should apply for a job over Christmas or for the summer, put it on the job application. They may not believe you, but they'll read it twice. You may not get the job, but God, the kid's got a good self-esteem. I'll say that about him. That's good. But I honestly believe that. And why I want to emphasize that is, if you're going to have a healthy sexuality, you have got to realize the good in you. That you are made in the image and likeness of God. You want to know what God looks like? Look around the room. Because you're not going to get any closer unless you have a vision. You are made in the image and likeness of God, and you are sacred. And if you ever really start believing that, it will change your life. It will change your life, because the more you genuinely like yourself and see what's good in you, the more you will see the good in others. The more you will relate to people. The better relationships you will have. if it's authentic. Now, I'm not talking about people being conceited or arrogant. People who are conceited or arrogant usually don't like themselves because they got to tell you how good they are all the time because they don't believe it. But if you genuinely believe it, it shows. And I'll come back to that a little later. I am going to start with some simple, basic things. Now, and I forgot, I got it. And if you are involved in a church, a religion, you are involved with an intimate God. Now, that can be a hard sell. I talk in some of the heathen states like Texas and California and Florida and places like that. And when I'm talking to high school kids and I ask them, hey, how are religion classes? How is church here? I often hear things like boring, repetitious, don't get a lot out of it, seems aimed at adults, a lot of kneeling, standing, sitting. I don't always like the music. I know none of you here feel that way. But if you should ever go to church on Sunday and find yourself drifting off a little, if you do nothing else, listen to those readings because they are crazy. Listen to them. They are If somebody comes up to you and hits you in the face, turn your face and let them hit you on the other side. Right. My first reaction when somebody hits me, oh, I'm a Christian, here, clock me again. I want to hit them back. I want to get even with them. And I don't know too many of you who walk into church on Sunday and go, intimate. You know, the first thing I feel is intimate. This is a God who wants a relationship with us. This is a God that isn't like this, it's more like this, that wants a relationship. This is an intimate religion. And if the greatest commandment, anybody tell me what the greatest commandment is? Young man walks up to Jesus and says, what's the greatest commandment? What does Jesus say? Anybody remember?
Love thy God and love.
Say that again?
Love thy God and love one another.
Yes, thank you. Jesus says, love thy God with your whole heart and soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. And upon these two things, the whole law of Moses, the commandments, everything is based. This religion is based on love. And it is an intimate one. Now again, I'm going to start with some simple basic things, not to insult you, but to build a case. Sexuality begins early. And I got any of you babysitters in here? Anybody, you baby? Okay, got one. Any others? Work with little kids or anything? Anybody tell me, when we are born sexual beings. We have no say in the matter. We are born sexual beings. It's right there from the moment we're born. What are the sexual needs of babies? Can anybody tell me? When I use the word sexual, I'll probably throw you a little. But what are the needs of babies? What do they need? What do babies need? Yeah. Food, clothing, sleep, yes. If they don't get those things, bad things, you got to feed them. You know, you got those firstborn, you know, parents have that first kid and they're not doing well. You got to feed them. Oh, yeah, okay, God, right. What else? What else do they need? Touching. Thank you. They need touching. If babies are not touched, held, cuddled, played with, interacted with, they will be emotionally disturbed, psychologically disturbed. They can even die from a lack of touch, care, and affection. It is basic to who we are. It is something we need right away. You don't believe me? I'll give you two examples, and I got a hunch some of your parents may have seen some of this. Anybody watch the series WCCO did one whole summer? Don Shelby and a couple on the Iron Crib babies. Anybody heard of the Iron Crib babies? The Iron Crib babies were in Romania. The communist government in Romania decided not to let any of their children be adopted outside the country. They're our citizens, we're going to take care of them. Intent was good. Intent was good. The problem was the orphanages grew. They had so many children, they didn't have enough staff to take care of them. They didn't have enough funding. They were overcrowded. WCCO did a whole number of episodes on this when they went in there to do this. So these babies weren't being held. People didn't have time, even when they were fed. They were propping bottles up, going up to the next one. Many of these babies were maybe being held once a week, twice a week. They were not being held very much or touched. When the communist government in Romania fell, and doctors, pediatricians, nurses came into these orphanages, they discovered some of these babies were physically smaller than they should have been. Their actual physical growth was stunted by a lack of touch, care, and affection. Some of them were developmentally delayed. They can't talk. They can't walk. They're not making eye contact. They're not doing things babies their age should be doing. Some of them were brain damaged from a lack of touch, care, and affection. How we are touched, held, and cuddled is very important to who we are and very important to our sexuality. It's an important thing. Example 2. New York Times. This is back in the 80s. New York Times did an interesting study. They took 100 men, and so the study is skewed. It's all male, no females in it. They took 100 inmates on death row. All of them had been sentenced to die. All of them had killed at least one person. And they wanted to do an interview with them. Why do people kill people? What led to this? What's going on? Maybe if we can find some traits that are in common, we can slow it down, maybe help it not happen. Now again, the study's skewed, it's all men. When they did their interviews, one of the things they found they had in common is 72 of the 100 reported being physically or sexually abused growing up. Some both. How we are touched, held, and cuddled is very important to who we are, and it's very important to our sexuality. Now, most people who are sexually abused don't kill people, thank God, but 72 out of 100, there's some significance there. There's some things that we see in that happen. So that touch is so important. Now, we are born, getting raised, and we start to get into the 5, 6, a little older, and a process takes place that sounds complicated because it's a big word, but you know what it is, it's simple. We are socialized. Socialization begins. Anybody tell me what socialization is? It's pretty simple. What is socialization? I know there's intelligent life out there. I know there is. I can see it. What does it mean to be socialized?
Interacting with other people.
Thank you. You're staying all night, right? You're going to be interacting with other people. Yes, if I walked up to shake your hand, what might you do? Yeah, why do you do that? Yeah, we're socialized to do that. That's what you do. And if I walked up and said, oh my gosh, I love your hair, you got to keep that. Oh, it's looking great. What might you say? Besides, leave me alone, you're picking up. No. What might you, pardon?
I would say thank you.
Yes, we're socialized. We're taught to do things like that. And it's a pretty simple process. And there's 2 main places we get socialized. We get socialized by many things. And the first one is, where does it start? Where does socialization start? Oh, even before that. Family. You get socialized by your family, the family you grow up in. And how many of you would say, your family, how many of you would describe your family as high touch? We're a high touch family. How many would say medium? That's a safe one. We're in the middle. That's always the safe one.
Does hitting count?
Yeah, it does. It does. And how many would describe their family as low touch? That we don't touch a lot, but okay. So most were high. Okay. Now, that one's easy. This one's harder. So if you don't get this one, I don't blame you. Another area that we get socialized. Think bigger than family. Think bigger than school. Where else do we get socialized?
Social media?
Oh, yeah. Boy, do we ever. Social media is there. Not what I was thinking of, but that's a good one. Others. Where else do we get socialized? Think bigger than school. Think bigger than family. Think bigger than city. Think bigger than state. Oh, church is a socialization, yes. That has a, yes, thank you. But even bigger than church.
Abort.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Abort. Work.
What?
Work.
Work. Oh, thank you, yes. Work. But even bigger than work. Bigger than state.
Country.
Country. We get socialized by the country we live in. Now, and places are going to be different. The place, how many of you would describe the United States of America as a high-touch culture? How many would describe us as high-touch? Oh, God. How many would say we're medium? We're in the middle, which is safe again. How many would describe us as low-touch? Okay. Anybody been to another country? Where have you been?
Germany.
How long were you there?
2 weeks.
Did you notice any differences in Germany in the way they touch? Now, I'm picking on this poor woman. Most of us don't go to another country going, how do they touch here? You know, I'm the only idiot doing that. But
They touch less than us, I think.
yes, especially North Germany.
Yes, we were in North.
Oh yeah, that's usually less. Southern's usually a little higher, but North.
But we stayed with Russians.
Oh.
They immigrated to Germany, so they touched quite frequently.
Oh, the Russians did. Ah, thank you. So there's difference there. Others. Anybody else been to it? Yes. Spain? Did you notice any differences?
Yeah, I would say more.
Oh, very good. Spain's a high-touch culture, yes. Others. Did you notice, how would you say they were different in Spain?
They have smaller personal space. So just in general, people like here, when you sit next to someone, the natural response, if it's a stranger or someone that's not part of your family, you sit a little bit further from them. Whereas then they're always just close.
Yes.
And they typically, and you would greet one another sometimes with a kiss on each side of the face.
Yes.
And, yeah, that's pretty much.
Oh, thank you. Anybody else been to another country? Okay, we can go with that. We have witnesses here. There are differences. The United States of America is a low-touch culture. We touch less than 70% of the world. We touch more than about 29%. And if you go to other countries, you will find this out. I could do a mean thing to you, but act like I'm being really cool. You know, I would start with the guys. You guys, I'm going to send you to southern France for 2 months. I'm going to pay for everything, set everything up, get you to live with a family in southern France who has a young man your age, who you'll be going there, and I set you all up, get everything set, but I don't tell you one thing about the culture of southern France, because I'm going to make $10,000 on America's Funniest Home Videos at your expense. Because there's a young man, and he has a picture of his family, and they have his picture, and you get to France, and you're coming off the plane, and the young man who's your age comes running up to you, puts his arms around you, gives you a big hug and a kiss on the cheek, and you're, Mom, Dad, could you come and get me? The person I'm living with is hugging, and I'm not staying here for 2 months, you get me out of here. I'm like, oh my God. That is how men often greet each other in southern France. That is much more normal. And there are beaches in southern France, which I won't tell you about because we're at a church, but you will probably soon discover once you're there, they're there. It's a different culture. And the women, what we're going to do to the women, we're going to send you to southern Italy. And again, get you all set, get everything set up, and not tell you about the culture of southern Italy. And there you are in Italy, walking around this little village with this girl who's your age, and suddenly these guys start walking up, and the La Biondas are in big trouble. La Biondas are who? Who are the La Biondas? The La Biondas, who are they? Blonde hair, you're in real trouble. Because as you're walking around that little village, suddenly 5 guys start following you, 2 of whom are cute, 3 are not. And they walk up and they start touching your hair. Excuse me? Did I say you could touch my hair? I don't remember saying that. And suddenly they start pinching you and you're swatting them. And no, hit that one. He's kind of up, but don't hit that one. He's cute. No. If you like him, you hit him. That shows you respect yourself. They're going to be much more interested in you if you do that. And that is a high-touch culture. And like you said, thank you, about Spain. In Italy, they're going to come right up to your face. They're going to be right here, and you're going to be, gym class? Remember gym? Arm apart. Your breath kind of smells. So does yours. We all eat garlic here. It's no big deal. Those are high-touch cultures. And we live in and there's places, certainly in America, because we are diverse, where you will see more of that with different communities. But generally we do. So that socialization takes place. Now, we're going to jump out of that whole thing and start getting into the more complicated stuff. And we are our families. With each, just take a couple minutes at your table with your son, daughter, mom, dad. How would you describe your family? Would you describe us as high touch, low touch? How do you touch? Go ahead. What have you observed in your families? Okay. Who touches the most in the family? Mom, I heard one mom. Others? Who touches the most? Mom? Mom, okay, getting a lot of moms. Okay, sounds like that's a common thread. All right. And I don't want to make you really self-conscious about that, but how we grow up in those families makes a difference. And I'm not going to pick on your family, I'm going to pick on mine for a little bit. I grew up in what I call a no-touch family. I never saw my mom and dad kiss on the lips, never. Once in a while on the cheek, and we'd be, oh my God, the hormones are going today. It's a full moon out there, man. Something's going on. Oh my God. Never saw them give each other big hugs. Never saw them cuddle up to the TV fireplace. Never saw anything. When I learned about the facts of life unofficially in 6th grade, I'm in shock. You're telling me that parents are in bed at night and they are kissing and hugging and making out and touching and groping. Is there a B-way? You come to my house, you live there a week, and you tell me they're doing that, man. That is impossible. They can't even touch each other. I came home. I have an older sister, Joan, and I found out I was not the only sibling to make this observation. Joan, I just learned about sex, and they said Mom and Dad are doing that, and that's impossible. They can't even touch each other. Bobby, slow down. I learned about sex. I figured it out. What? We're adopted. It's the only explanation. She goes to the family photo album. She's been studying this. Look, newborn pictures, nothing for 2 years. We're adopted. Hey, Mom, how come there's no pictures of us for 2 years? We didn't have a camera. Yeah, we're adopted. And we honestly believed this for 2 years of our lives. And I don't know what it was back then for you guys, but at our school, every once in a while they gave you forms you had to fill out to see if you were coming back or whatever it was. And that was in 6th grade, you know, you can't remember what you did 2 hours ago. But I don't know what it was at your house. But at our house, you were in deep trouble when Dad walked in. Joni and Bobby, you will go to the living room right now, and you will sit there until your mother and I come. Oh God, Joan, this is big. What did you do? I don't know. I didn't do anything. What did you do? I didn't do anything. Oh my God. And they made you sit there for 5 minutes just sweating. And Dad walks in holding a form. Why did you put adopted on this? And how do you tell your parents? Because you can't touch each other and there's no way. And my sister is hyperventilating. We're going to die. And I saved us that day, not intentional. The first thing that came out of my mouth was because we're stupid. Yeah, and Dad starts yelling, and keep yelling. Don't ask any more questions. Just, oh God, I was so glad to get yelled at that day. We skipped that one. Now, something I have learned, and you have learned this because you're observant. There are people in the world who get attention, who get affection, who get noticed in negative ways, and those who get touched in positive ways. It can go either way. There's people do it. And if you don't believe that, just watch junior high. I mean, it'll happen where people will touch them. There's ways that people will try to get attention, to get noticed. Some will be positive, some will be negative. And when I learned this, I thought, did my family touch negatively? I started doing my homework. I started going back to being a little kid and see if my family didn't touch positively, did we touch negatively? And my family touched. I remember sitting on the living room floor, the only carpeted room in the house, reading the newspaper in 2nd grade as best you can, looking at the pictures. And my evil, greedy brother Charlie would come in and say, I want the sports page. And I remember being a saint of a child. I remember looking at my brother and saying, Charlie, I need 2 minutes and I will be finished. And I will bring it to you. I will make you breakfast. Anything you want. Pancakes, waffles, omelet, quiche, anything you want. Just let me finish. And my evil, greedy brother would say, I want it now. I'd say, come and get it. And he would. And we start pounding on each other. We are beating on each other. And my sister Joan would come in to break it up. And she never broke it up. She always got in on it. And she was usually on Charlie's side, and I'm near death. When my favorite sister Ellen would come flying in, and my family planned well. We had 6 kids. You get a tag team going 3-on-3, battle royales on the weekends, solo matches during the week. We were always wrestling in this no-touch family. No hugging or kissing in my family. And we kids invented a game called Stink Stink. It's not a very original game. My family's still embarrassed that I talk about this. One person was the Stink Stink. They could not walk, they could not run, they had to crawl. And the other 5 kids would hide. And if the Stink Stink found you, and they could grab you and hold you till 3, then you were one. And they'd multiply. And the last Stink Stink would have 5 kids coming down. When I look back, I don't think it's a coincidence we invented a game with hugging. I think we were taking care of needs we didn't even know we had. We were just being kids. And I also don't think it's a coincidence we called it Stink Stink. Getting hugged in my family was like getting slimed. It was, okay, all right, you let me go, I'm not gonna help you. Okay, well, where's the next one? All right, paper bag, let's go. All right, we got it. And we do it. And I just believe all families touch in some way or the other. Again, at your table, just for a little bit, how do you touch? Is it shake hands? Is it hug? Is there different occasions with different people in the family? Go ahead. Just how do you touch? Go ahead with your... Okay. Anybody have younger brothers, sisters? How young? Oh. 3 years younger. I was going to say 3 years old. Oh my gosh, there's a touch world. 3 years younger. And you?
Ranges from 2.5 to 7 years younger.
Oh, 7 years younger. Okay. Others? Yeah?
I have a younger sister. A younger sister.
How much younger?
2 years.
2 years, okay. Others? Yeah? Oh, quite a bit. So are they pretty touchy still? Yeah, a lot of hugging and touching. So yeah, you can grow up with that. So I talk about that, you say, okay, that's great. That's leading. I bring that up because I want to get into some more complex stuff. I'm going to make a statement here that if you're paying attention, I'm probably going to lose all credibility with you right now. Because when I would say this to my sexuality classes, they'd look at me like, are you kidding me? I don't believe that there's anybody out there who's really looking for sex. Now, when you say that in the American culture, you get some people looking at you. When I'd say this to my classes, Mr. Bartlett, I was doing really good in your class till just now. What alien just sucked out your brain, man? People aren't looking for sex? That is all people are looking for. Are you kidding? Pornography. What do you think people use it to learn English? I mean, come on, man. What cave you living in? I know what I'm saying can sound countercultural. I'm sticking to it. My area of expertise in marriage and family counseling is sexuality. I don't believe there's a person out there looking for sex. I think they settle for sex because intimacy is too hard. Because intimacy is too scary. Because intimacy is complex. I think there's 100 reasons. But what I think people are looking for is intimacy. Now, sex is part of intimacy. But for sex, if you're going to have a healthy, creative, fulfilling, passionate sexuality, you have to know about intimacy. That's the key to a healthy sexuality. I had a young man, and I was talking at a high school, Benilde, and I was talking to all the grades, and they divided them into juniors and seniors and freshmen and sophomores. And I was talking to the 9th, 10th graders, and afterwards, this young guy walked up to me and said, "Can I talk to you?" I said, "Isn't class gonna start?" "Yeah." "Well, can you write me a pass?" "Well, I'm not a teacher here." "Tell you what, I'm gonna talk with you, and I'll walk you to your classroom and let the teacher know that you were with me." He said, "Okay, cool." So the kid comes to me and he says, "Really liked your talk." I said, "Okay, thanks, appreciate that." He said, No, he said, "It meant a lot to me." He said, "It explains some things." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Is this between you and me?" I said, Yeah, I don't work here. Yeah, you're safe, man. Confidentiality is part of my business." He said, "Last summer, I was at a party, people were drinking, and I had some drinks, and there was this girl there that I thought was kind of cute. She was drinking too, and we ended up connecting, and we started making out, and we ended up having sex." And he said, "Wasn't that good? I was expecting all these great things, yeah, it felt physically good, but kind of was empty too. I thought, man, there's not much to it." And he said, probably 3 or 4 months later, at another party, and again, some drinking was going on. We weren't drunk, but ended up having sex with this other person, and had the same feeling. And I started thinking, am I gay? Am I not sexual? And now I get it. He said, there's no intimacy. We had nothing going. And he said, when you were talking, now it makes so much sense to me why there wasn't much there. We had no connection other than that. We weren't friends. And he said, and this kid, and I hardly said a word this whole time, and this kid says, I'm not going to have sex for a long time. I want to meet people. I want to meet some girls and get to be friends with them and get to know them and get good relationships, because that sounds like, from what you're saying, that's what's really important. And I said, you're right. I said, I was really impressed that he was picking up on that and learning from that. Is that intimacy is the key. Now, when I use the word intimacy can mean different things to different people. If I said Armando and Jill were intimate last night, most of you would say, no more. I understand. I've been around the block a few times. I get that. You can be intimate and never have sex. You can have sex and never be intimate. They are not the same thing. And if you're going to have a healthy, creative, fulfilling, passionate sexuality, you have to know the difference. The word intimacy comes from two words. It comes from the Greek word timorous, which means close, and it comes from the Latin word timeo. The word timid comes from timeo. The word intimidation comes from timeo. What does it mean to be intimidated? Don't analyze. First thing, what does it mean to be intimidated? Scared. The word timeo in Latin means fear. One of the literal definitions of the word intimacy is into fear. And if you have ever truly been intimate with someone, I don't have to explain that to you. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Nobody can hurt you more than somebody you get intimate with. Nobody can hurt you more than somebody you let into who you are, what you feel, what you think, what you believe. You don't want to get hurt? Don't be intimate. And I got a lot of people I work with playing that game. Having sexual partner after sexual partner, getting on the computer, downloading pornography, scared to death of intimacy. Sex is easy. You can teach it to 6, 7-year-old kids. They do it all the time in child pornography, unfortunately. But intimacy is another ballgame. Because if you're going to be intimate, you are going to get hurt. And it's worth it. It's one of the most rewarding, wonderful, incredible human experiences you will ever have. And it's worth it. And you know this, because think of your close friends. Think of people who are important to you. You probably at one point got in a fight with them, maybe just short, maybe real temporary. And you had to work through it. You had to kind of reconnect to get back together. And that can deepen your relationship because you realize, oh my God, we can hurt each other and we can work through it. We can get beyond it and we can deepen the relationship. And that is so true with that intimacy. And that intimacy begins with something I said at the beginning here. You have got to find out what's right with you. You have to find out what's valuable in you, the good things in you. You have got to do that if you're going to have healthy relationships. Most of you do not go shopping at Christmas going, oh, I'm going to buy this for my sister. She hates it. Then you buy it and you give it to her. She opens, I hate this. I know. That's why I got it for you. You got the receipt? Yeah. Right. As stupid as that is, that's what you're doing if you get in relationships with people if you don't believe they're worthwhile. You're giving them a gift that you don't think is important. It is so important. You guys, you have to go home. You have to look in the mirror and see what is right with you. Yes, we all see the flaws. We all see the things that are going. I'd love to have a full head of hair again. It's gone. I see that. But you also have to see what's good in you. You got to be able to look in that mirror and say, you know, I'm not all bad. I got nice hair, man. It's dark. I got, you know, my lips aren't bad. You know, I'm kind of okay. I'm probably a little bit good. In fact, I'm a sex symbol. Yes! Now, if you do this at home, be careful. Because you may have a brother or sister who hears you in the bathroom. And they open the door. Yeah, you're the only one who thinks so. Shut up. You know, we're into this. But honestly, you guys, you have to start seeing what is right with you. You have to see what's good in you. Because if you do, then you're worthwhile. The more you like yourself, the more you're going to like others, genuinely. The more you're going to look at what's right with people instead of what's wrong. You're not going to compare yourself. You're going to be open, inviting to people. The more that you genuinely accept yourself. Okay, all right. Intimacy in that. You are setting patterns of intimacy right now in your lives. I don't mean this moment, but you are. You are setting patterns of intimacy that you're going to carry into adult relationships. And those can be healthy patterns, and those can be unhealthy patterns. I could follow you around for a week, you not know I'm there, which is a little freaky, and get an idea of what kind of patterns you're in. Unhealthy patterns are the kinds you turn on when you want something. It'd be like you guys coming home. Mom, Dad, there's going to be this weekend up at the cabin up north of one of my friends, and a bunch of guys and girls are going, and we're going to be going Friday through Sunday, and I was wondering if I could go. There's going to be 10 chaperones per kid, and we're supposed to bring Bibles, and I just wondered if I could go. And you turn it on, and your parents say, oh, and you prime it. If you're smart, you prime it. Mom, Dad, have I thanked you for going to work for us this week? I just really appreciate you getting up every morning and going to work for us. And you know what? How do you keep the house so clean with both of you working? You're amazing people, and the menu selection this week was superb. I just really enjoyed the meals. And your parents say, what do you want? Thank you. What do you want? Well, there's this party coming up at this cabin, and there's going to be guys and girls, and there's going to be 10 chaperones per kid, and we're supposed to bring our Bibles, and I just wondered if I could go. You turn it on when you want something. Now, we have all been guilty of this. I've done this. As long as you know you're doing it, and as long as you're up front, and it's not a bad thing. But where it becomes a problem is when it becomes your main mode of operation in your sexuality. Exhibit A, college roommate. I'm in college. It was our freshman year, and there's about 4 guys in my room, and my roommate, who's also Bob, came bursting through the door. You guys, I just met the most beautiful woman in the world. She got a sister? What? Nothing, never mind. Tell us. You guys, I don't believe in love at first sight, but it just happened. Man, she was attractive. I saw her, and I started talking to her. We started talking, man. We were talking. We were communicating. It was really cool, and we have things in common. She has her own downhill ski equipment. We're talking cheap date here, and we're going to the basketball game on Friday. And sense of humor, I had her laughing, she had me laughing. Oh, man, it was great. Okay, and we're staring at him. Now, you have to understand, there's 4 men in my room. We are studying on Friday night. Not because we're geniuses. We had nothing better to do. Our big highlight was to go to White Castle, get some sliders, come back. And there we are. So he leaves. He comes back, so he's getting ready to go on his date the next Friday, and the losers start filing into my room. Did you ever notice how winners ask those deeply sensitive questions of losers? Hey, you guys, what are you doing tonight? Shut up. Tonight, let's see. Oh, there's 400 cheerleaders coming from the University of Minnesota to attack and ravage our bodies, and then we're going to White Castle. Boom, he leaves. Okay, so we're in there. He comes home early. Comes home around 11, slams open the door, stares at us like we're pond scum or something, goes and turns on his music, loud. turns on his TV loud. We're talking here, we're having conversation. Falls on the bed, pulls out this little bag, and starts drinking one beer after another. I'm in counseling. I'm a perceptive person. I pick up tension in the room. Roomie, you're home early. Yeah, you're observant. It's kind of hard not to be when you live in a closet together in college. Where's Sue? I don't know and I don't care. The most beautiful woman in the world. Did you guys have a fight? Oh yeah, you're perceptive. What happened? She doesn't love me anymore, okay? But you just came out and said, I don't love you anymore? No, I'm not stupid, I could tell. Well, you are a little stupid, how could you tell? I tried to feel her up and she wouldn't let me. Oh, well, yeah, of course. Yeah, even us losers know. Second date, a girl doesn't let you feel her up, she doesn't love you. It's in the Bible. Well, you got to have the original Hebrew. But I wanted to grab my roommate, put him up against the wall, slap him in the face a couple times. Roomie, you're into unhealthy patterns here. You went on this date with one thing on your mind. I'm going to feel her up. I'm going to get to point B. It's my way or the highway, honey, or it is not a good date. And I wanted to look at him and say, you're stupid. God. Man, think about what you had this woman that you could talk to, that you find attractive, that you can laugh with, that you have things in common with. I mean, you're going to throw all that out the window because she won't go to point B with you. Why don't you take Sue's body, go feel it up, take her head off, go feel the body, break. I mean, what are you doing? This is him. And I was so frustrated with him. It was like, are you kidding me? He was more interested in what she would do than who she was. That's not healthy intimacy. That is not going to get healthy when you get into relationships like that. It's not a good thing. He's getting into some unhealthy patterns there, or had already gotten into some. I had a kid when I was working at St. William's. He was a junior. He came in, and it was one of the guys who really got me going into this whole area of sexuality. He was in the youth group. I knew him. He comes in and drops this list of 13 girls on my desk. I said, what's this, your harem? Or you're going to a party? Or what is this? Oh, I just came back from the doctor. Yeah? And I have sexually transmitted infection. And the doctor said any women I've had sex with in the last 3 to 6 months could have this infection. And I've had sex with these 13 girls in the last 3 to 6 months. Well, congratulations. So what are you doing? Why are you giving me these names? Do you want me to put them in the parish bulletin? Or? Well, these girls should be notified. The doctor said they could have this infection and they could get pelvic inflammatory disease. They could become sterile. They should be notified. And I just wondered if you would call them. You want me to call them? Yeah. I could put their names in the bulletin. It would be easier if but announce it from the pulpit on Sunday. You women? No. But I said, are you kidding? I looked at it. What do I have, sucker on my forehead or what? No, you work with kids. You say you care about kids. Well, these girls could be sick and not know it. They should be notified. So I just thought you might call them. I was young. I said, okay, I'll call them. And God walks with me, or I would not be in the work I'm in, because the next thing out of my mouth, I don't know where it came from, but I said, but you got to come and see me 3 times before I call him. He agreed. These were not among my most memorable counseling sessions. He kind of told me what a jerk I was in a little more colorful language, and not a lot happened. And the 3rd time with him, to this day, I do not know what I said, but I heard him. I didn't know what I said, but suddenly I saw his body tense up, and I could see him kind of sitting back, and I thought, oh my God, he's getting some tears. And I thought, what did I say that hurt him? And I thought I had it, and I went at him, and I missed, and instead of breaking him, he got kind of mad. Oh, who the hell you think you are? You some kind of sex expert? How many women have you gone all the way with? I thought, oh great, he's going to be real impressed with my answer. 4,323 since kindergarten in 42 countries. I'm going to pass wilt before I... You know, it's none of your business, and I think I hurt... How many? What's the pain? How many? Man, you're hurting. How many? One. You've gone all the way with one? I think I've gone all the way with 13. I think I know a little more about it than you do. I said, maybe you do. What'd you learn? Oh, you wouldn't understand. I know, I'm an idiot. That's why I'm asking. What'd you learn? Forget it. See, you know, I'll forget it, but I'm going to challenge you with the words you just used. I don't think you went all the way. The hell I didn't. You had sex, but you didn't go all the way because you don't even know what it is. Going all the way is emotional. It's psychological. It's spiritual. Going all the way is getting up at 2 in the morning with a crying baby when it's your turn. Going all the way is when you tell a man or woman you love them and they look at you and say, you know, I've got next Saturday about 4, I'm going to be doing a violin concert, and I wondered if you would come. Violin. Yeah, if you go in my truck out in the parking lot there, you will find violin CDs in there. That I don't care how you feel about the violin. If you care about that person, you're going to show up for that. That's what it means to go all the way. To be a friend, to be with people in those hard times and good times, to be there with them. And I looked at that kid and said, I think what you've been doing is masturbating. You've been making love to yourself. You can't even call these girls up to tell them they're sick. What kind of relationships you got? I said, man, my wish for you is you would go out with a woman and not do anything. Just be her friend. Find out what colors she likes. What's her favorite movie? Who are her good friends? What does she like to do? I think you will find that more fulfilling than what you're doing now. I love to say that kid's a deacon in the church now with 4 kids. I can't say that. I never really got to talk to him again. I saw him, but we never really connected again. But I hope those patterns changed for him. I hope he learned some things, even though it was the hard way. That he was into unhealthy patterns that weren't helping him and getting him anywhere. And those are important things to learn that you guys are in the process of doing. Healthy patterns of intimacy are important. Healthy patterns, you know, if you've got good friends. Do you have people you can talk to? People you can laugh with? People who will listen to you? People you have good times with, you have things in common. You go to games, you listen to music, you go to Starbucks or Caribou, and you talk and you hang out and you're having fun. You go to Chipotle or McDonald's, you're having so much fun they kick you out. That is healthy intimacy. And you didn't even do anything wrong. That is healthy intimacy. That you have a good friend. And that's anybody that you're going to be a partner with, you need to be friends with. That friendship is so important, to learn how to be good friends with people. And you're going to be careful. You're going to be careful. I had a kid, I was in Lake Geneva, and I was doing a youth rally there, and there were kids from inner city Milwaukee, inner city Chicago, Gary, Indiana, and Madison. There were like 1,000 inner city kids there. And I was giving a workshop on sexuality, and I had about 125 kids in there. And I was talking about intimacy, and this kid's hand goes up. And I call on him, and the kid stands up. And this kid is about 6'4", 240 pounds, chiseled. Oh my gosh, starting middle linebacker for his high school. He says, I like what you're saying. I said, good, because you could kill me if you didn't. He said, no, man, no, I got your back. Anybody gives you problems, I'm there. I said, you're on. God, I love that. I said, take that. He said, can I say something? I said, yeah. He said, you guys need to listen to this stuff. It's important. He said, last year I was a junior, and I had this girlfriend who was a sophomore. And man, we did everything. We were good friends. And we really had a good time. And we were out one night, and I got kind of selfish. I pushed her to go farther physically than she wanted to. We kind of agreed not to, but I pushed her. We ended up having sex. And it was about a month later, her mom won't let me see her anymore. I said, what's going on? And Mom said, you stay away from her. And I found out she was pregnant. And Mom had sent her to live with her aunt in Atlanta. And Mom said, you're never seeing her again. And he said, I ruined a really good relationship because I got selfish. And he said, I made a promise shortly after this happened. He said, I was on my knees. I was praying to God. And I said, God, I'm not going to have sex with somebody again until I'm ready to marry him, because I don't want to hurt somebody like this again. And I made a vow. I go out with a girl now, I set the boundaries. This is how far I'm willing to go, and I won't go any further. And if she doesn't like it, then we don't go. And I said, well, that's cool, but you get going, you start kissing, you're in the back of a car, and he says, if we go over, we take a time out. We're taking a week break. It's not happening. I'm not letting that happen again. I said, well, that's pretty cool, but there aren't many kids in America doing that. I had 125 kids in this workshop. Inner city, about 20 of them said, I do that. I do that. We set limits. And I thought, that is healthy intimacy. That is healthy intimacy. I was doing a retreat with Cretan, and I'll never forget this one, because that kid was I was talking about, it was all men. It was all male retreat, and I had the sexuality part, and I was talking to these guys, and I started talking about girls who get a reputation. Girls who get a reputation as being loose, and that they'll do anything with anybody. And I said, I want you guys to be careful about that, because I work with some of the women who've been labeled that way. And a lot of them have been sexually abused. A lot of them have had some bad incidents happen to them. And if you're going to use them, you're just going to keep them on a downward spiral. And this one kid said, yeah. He said, he's a sophomore, and he said, yep. He said, I know what he's talking about. He said, man, we were at a party. This girl had a reputation. I was a virgin. I thought, here's a chance to lose that virginity label. So she had some drinks, I had some drinks. We ended up having sex. And it wasn't that big a deal, and I regret it to this day. It wasn't a good thing for her or me, and it really affected our relationship, and I'm not proud of that. And this one guy looks at him and says, thanks for talking about that. He said, I don't want to be somebody's regret. And I looked at that kid and went, wow, there's healthy intimacy. I don't want to be somebody's regret. Man, that's a cool thing. You guys, you have a gift of sexuality. What are you going to do with it? How are you going to use it? What kind of relationships do you want with that? It is a gift. And I get kids who have had sex. And wherever you are with that, I always say to kids, make sure you're talking to somebody about your relationship, somebody you trust. Make sure you can talk to your parents or an aunt or an uncle, a brother, a sister, a youth minister, a counselor. Have people that you can, if something happened that wasn't good, make sure you're getting help with that. Because you can come back from that. You can come back from that. Maddie will always be there for me because she was a sophomore, and she was one of those conversations, again, where I didn't say hardly a word. Maddie comes in and, Bob, I had your sexuality class. I know better. I said, Maddie, you are just, what's going on? Oh my God. I had this boyfriend, and we were doing really good, and things were going great, and I really thought we were close. And he taught me into having sex, and I did it. I get a letter. Get a letter. He met somebody else now. He used me. He just used me. And as soon as he was gone, I'm so mad. And I said, I'm mad at myself. I knew better. Why did I let this happen? God, I lost my virginity. I said, Maddie, you can get right back on. You can focus on losing. You can focus on what you learned from it. What did you learn? I'm not having there's got to be a lot more trust. There's got to be I said, good. Good. What did you learn? Those are important things. That you guys, there's 100 things going on out there. And I just want you to think about what your sexuality, what you want it to be for you. That you get some healthy patterns. That you develop good friendships. I think that's so cool to see kids who have those and really enjoy each other and have fun together. You know, dating shouldn't be pressure. It shouldn't be by July 1st we'll be kissing, and then by August we'll be French kissing, and then we'll start feeling each other up. Who set this up? One night you might kiss, one night you might hug, one night you may sit on a swing set looking at the stars. One night you just might talk. There's no A, B, C, D to get to. You enjoy each other. You respect each other. Because if I really care about somebody, I don't want to hurt them. I don't want to take a chance that could ruin the relationship. That I can take my time with that. Intimate relationships. Father Thomas Lynch said something I really like. Talk about a beatitude on sexuality. He said, sex is a celebration. I love that. Sex is a celebration of an intimate, committed relationship. You don't have the intimacy, you don't have the commitment, it isn't going to be the same celebration. My definition of a marriage. An intimate, committed relationship. That is so important to use that gift of sexuality in healthy ways like that. And I want you guys to find healthy ways to be with each other, you know, to have dances, to go to Caribou or Starbucks or McDonald's, Chipotle, to be at each other's homes, to go to football games. I mean, those group dates, I know kids, oh God, my mom and dad said I can't go out with somebody one-on-one until I'm 18. Yeah, that can sound tough, and not many parents do, but you guys, those group dates can be some of the best. I remember freshman year of college, it was freshman orientation, and everybody's afraid to go on the dance floor because nobody hardly knew everybody, and a couple of us did, and we ended up meeting some women, and they loved to dance. And we ended up setting up these, we go to Withrow about once or twice a month in Stillwater, and we danced, and there were probably 8 girls and 6 guys. It was always more women than men. And we had a blast together. I think only 2 out of those 14 actually became couples. We would just go, and we would and just had fun together, and it was really a good time to just be and enjoy and have that companionship of both male and female. And I was lucky to have good female friends. I always felt like in high school I was getting cheated because everybody's got a girlfriend but me. But I had all these female friends, and now I look back, I had 4 sisters too. And that was a blessing because those girls would talk to me about, you know, What I don't like about men? Yeah, tell me. And I learned, and I watched, and I heard how things that they didn't like or things they did, and that was really a good learning experience. It really helped me. In fact, I'll never forget when I was going on a date with my sister Joan. Do you like this girl? Yeah. Then why are you dressed like that? Oh my God, you cannot, you changed, right? You are not going out. What are you, if you like her, oh my gosh. They helped me a few times. They got me, okay. Sometimes I listened, sometimes I didn't, but they were usually right. But, and I also want to share, what time is it?
You got about 10 minutes.
Okay. I want to share one last thing for you. It's a public, pardon?
15 minutes.
Okay. This is a public service message. And I just bring this up because I'm hoping that I can reduce the numbers on this. I mean, I can't, but at least contribute to it. Anybody know a great way to avoid intimacy that a lot of high school, college people do, and adults can do it too? Anybody know a great way to avoid intimacy? It's a hard question. So I don't know I get an answer, but I always ask. Alcohol and drugs. Great way to avoid intimacy. Don't even remember what I did or what happened or who it was or whatever. I want to give a public service on this. I'm not here to stop your parties. I'm not here to say never. All I'm going to say is if you're going to go to a party, please pay attention. Please notice what's going on. 24 is the lowest I've seen, and these are hard studies to find. There's not a lot of them. 24 to 37%, 37 is the highest I've seen, of first sexual experiences are alcohol or drug related. Not a lot of intimacy there in those situations. You know, you've got those situations where, I had sex with, I was at a party, man, and I had sex with one of the, oh gosh, I don't remember. It was one of the girls, oh man, I'm not sure what, God, I hope I wasn't doing the couch cushions. I think it was a person. Well, I hope it was the couch cushions because it would have been as meaningful. But anyway, please pay attention. I was in San Diego talking to a college, San Diego, which is a Catholic college, University of San Diego. And I was talking to college kids on sexuality. And this girl who came up to me and said, I really liked what you were talking about. And I'm going to tell you a story and feel free to use it. She didn't give me her name. She said, she was one of these kids. If you ever get accused of this, by the way, it's a great compliment. She said, I never drank, never had sex in high school. Had a great time. I didn't need it. She said, people would accuse me of being drunk at parties because I was having so much fun. And I said, that's a great compliment. They thought, you got to be. She said, I didn't need that stuff. I had really good friends, really good things going. And so she ended up joining a sorority in San Diego when she went there. And she was at a party. It was a sorority fraternity party. And some guys found out that she had never drank. And thought, oh God, this would be a challenge. So, hey, ever have wine? You know, wine cooler? You know, a Kahlua? It's just, and they kept bugging her, and she kept saying, no, I don't want anything. And finally, one guy who she said she knows it wasn't him. He was sincere. He said, hey, you guys leave her alone. He came up and said, hey, I'm sorry they're bugging you. What do you need? You want a Coke? She said, oh yeah, I love a Coke, Diet Coke. Great. So he gets to go get the Diet Coke, and on the way, a bunch of these guys distract him. And one of them poured out about a third of the Coke and put Everclear in the other third. Now, Everclear you can light. It's 80, 90 proof. I mean, this is strong stuff. And she started drinking this Coke and thought, well, this is weird. God, I think I'm a little deep. So she drank a little more and finally realized, oh my God, there's something in here. And she got kind of sick, went in the bathroom, threw up, came back and fell asleep on the couch. One of the guys who did this to her thought, oh God, this is bad. She's asleep. She's probably going to throw up. This is not good. So he picked her up and moved her into the bedroom. And she was beautiful, homecoming queen of her high school, and raped her while she was passed out. Went back into the party, was bragging to guys about having sex with this woman, and she said, from what we learned in the hospital, there were probably 6 or 7 guys who went in that room and raped her while she was passed out. Finally, some woman saw these people going in and out and thought, what the? And she walked and saw this woman on the bed, saw some blood on her, probably because her hymen was ripped or something, and they called an ambulance. She went to this ambulance in San Diego where this woman had an emergency hysterectomy because what was done to her at that party. This woman who never had sex and never drank will never have children of her own because of what happened at that party. She can adopt. Please pay attention. Please watch what's going on out there. I had the guys that are still my heroes, Billy. They were seniors, and they were at a party, and 2 girls came in, and one of them was the sister of one of the guys at the party, and they were freshmen, and they'd been drinking. And they were kind of playing around, and they put on music, and they started dancing, and one of them starts doing a striptease. And Billy said, oh, this is not cool. This is not a good thing. And he said, come on, got his friend, and they got up, and he got his leather jacket on her, and they kind of danced with her outside, got her in the car, and took her home. And I said, Billy, you probably saved that girl from a bad night. That is, I need more stories like that, of people who are watching out for each other. You guys, pay attention to what's going on out there, because there is a lot of stuff that's not good that's going on. And if we can slow that down, that would be great. And I'd like to see those stats on that go down about things that happen at parties where people are using. I want to end with a song by Michael Johnson. I will not sing it. I have 4 sisters. They all asked me to play guitar in their wedding. None of them asked me to sing. I got the hint. The song is on an album for all you mad musicians. And the name of the song is Love and Sex. It's about 4 minutes long, and it's one of the best songs ever heard on sexuality. It starts out, today I met someone that I can make love with, not to. Big difference. Bodies upon bodies, like sacks upon shelves. Everyone using each other to make love to themselves. And I see that in the work I do, which I call immature sexuality. And then he starts to sing a song that I'm hoping one of the parents has heard of, because I got a hunch none of the kids have. It was #1 back in Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young were a hot group, and Stephen Stills would break off. And one of his first big hits would have this memorable line, and if you can't be with the one you love, honey, thank you, love the one you're with. Now, if you want to be in the shallow end of the pool, I think Stephen meant some good things by that, but if you want to be in the shallow end of the pool, live by that. Michael Johnson changes it. And if you can't be with the one you love, honey, why don't you wait until you can? And it will be good for both of you. And he ends the song with a powerful line. Love will get you through times of no sex better than sex will get you through times of no love. Love will get you through times of no sex better than sex will get you through times of no love. And my wife and I wrote that on our wall, and you write that on your wall too. Now, I'm not necessarily saying you should go home and write it on the wall, you know, got the holidays coming up, Grandma. What's that on the wall? It's from church, Grandma. It's from the Bible. You got to have the original Hebrew, but it's in there somewhere. That can be a motto. I hope you guys have some great friendships with men and women. I hope you take your time. Don't let people push you into things that you're not ready for. Take your time. There's a lot to learn out there, and I'm excited for you because you're in a time where there can be so many good, healthy relationships. And if people respect you and care about you, they're not going to push you into things you don't want to do. I'm not going to push somebody that I might hurt them if I care about them. And enjoy, because you guys got a lot ahead of you. And I hope that sexuality is a blessing for you. And be able to look in that mirror and see what is right with you. Maureen. I like this story because it was so powerful. Maureen was in my youth group. She was a sophomore. And Maureen came to everything. Loved having her around. And she stopped coming. And I thought, what happened? And I knew the parents, and they said, they actually brought Maureen to me because they had found out that she had gotten into some drugs. They think she had had sex once or twice. They didn't know for sure. And I said, I can't work with her. I'm too close to her, but I can refer her. So I did refer her to someone, and I didn't see her for about 3 or 4 months. And I was getting ready for a youth group meeting, and I hear, hey, Bob, how you doing? And I look up and oh my God, Maureen! And I came running out, gave her a hug. I said, oh my God, you coming tonight? She said, yeah, oh man, it's so good to see you. She said, you didn't recognize me at first, did you? I said, no. She said, you hesitated. No, you don't lie to me. Well, you look different. Oh, I do. What's different? Hair. You had longer hair and you cut it. No. Glasses. You got no. Braces. No. Well, you look different. She said, I know. I like myself. I've never liked myself before. She did not become a homecoming queen of the high school. She did not suddenly appear on the cover of People magazine. But she looked different. She looked you in the eye. She had a genuineness about her that was attractive. The more you genuinely like yourself, the more attractive you become. God gave us this gift of sexuality. Take care of it. Reverence it. It's a cool thing you got. Get into healthy patterns. Those are really important. I will shut up. Are there any questions or comments or anything that people were wondering about? Or anything that you want to say?
Mr. John, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, thank you. And good luck to you guys. Thanks for coming.